So, middleweight champion Alex Poatan Pereira confirms that he himself says that Robert the Reaper Whitaker will be his next challenge for the belt if Israel Adesanya is not ready for the rematch. If he doesn't take the rematch, reported via Full Violence on Instagram. I mean, Israel will definitely take the rematch for sure. But I could see the UFC taking advantage of the situation with Robert Whitaker, where he was supposed to fight in Perth and Paulo Costa pulled out on him, bitched out on him. I could easily see the UFC being like, you know what? There's no one for Robert to fight. Are we really going to shelf him for like the next 10 months with no one to fight? I could easily see the UFC giving Robert the next shot, and then Israel Adesanya can just get the winner, which honestly makes the most sense for me. Like UFC 287 in April doesn't have a headliner. They could easily make Pereira Whitaker the main event. And then the winner of that, depending on how much damage they take or how little damage they take, they could turn around and then fight Izzy International Fight Week. If they're not ready by then, maybe the fall. Israel deserves a time off though, because I mean Adesanya, I mean, he's been so active as a champion, fighting like every 4 months, fighting thrice a year, 3 times a year. He deserves a break. And plus, he just got finished by Pereira. I know he didn't like go out cold. It wasn't like a clean KO like in their glory kickboxing days, but Israel did take a fair amount of damage. So I think the king deserves to rest. Yes, I still call him a king. I know he's not officially a champion anymore, but he's still a champ to me. It's kind of weird that he's not champion anymore. It feels like he's still a champion, and I think he'll be champion again someday, whether it be through beating Pereira in the next fight, or maybe beating Whitaker if Whitaker gets the belt back. But we might be seeing a new middleweight champion soon in the next few months. Like this middleweight belt might play a bit of hot potato because for as good as Pereira is and for as dangerous as he is, I just don't see him as, I don't know, like he matches well with Israel. It's weird. I would favor Israel to beat almost every middleweight except for Pereira, but then I'd favor almost every middleweight to beat Pereira because styles make fights and Pereira's game just isn't that far developed into MMA, and he's 35. He doesn't really have a lot of time to improve on a lot of holes in his game. That's why I don't think Pereira will last long. And Whitaker might be a better style to beat Alex, although I could easily see Pereira putting the Reaper to sleep. I think I pick Robert. And if if the UFC does so happen to give Whitaker the next shot, Robert might get the title back. He might be a two-time middleweight champion by April, May, sometime this spring, and we might be seeing Adesanya. Whitaker 3, with Whitaker defending his belt from Israel. But I know with Israel's pride and ego, he's going to want to fight. He's going to want to be the next guy to fight Pereira and beat him. He doesn't want Pereira to lose and then not get a chance to fight him. I'm sure Izzy would love that storyline, to have lost his belt to Alex, get it back from Alex, which is very possible. Probably won't happen, but it could happen because it's Izzy. And, he arguably won fight one, was winning fight 2 and 3, but 2 and 3 had the same ending. Pereira was losing until he came back. But if Izzy and Pereira fight, if they keep fighting, eventually Israel's going to beat him. But I like what Alex is saying here, and I do think that Whitaker should get the shot. I think maybe Izzy should just swallow his pride, sit this one out. But if Poatan gets to the Reaper, then okay, make Poatan versus the last Stylebender for the final chapter, Adesanya's last chance. But I don't mind this. I don't mind Whitaker getting the next shot at Alex Pereira to pass the time. Besides, Izzy said he wanted to take time off anyway, right? And Pereira strikes me as a very active fighter. Like he's a guy who I see him wanting to turn around relatively quickly. I don't know if Pereira is going to want to wait that long for Israel by the summer. He might want to turn around again in the spring. And if he wants to come back in the spring and the UFC can't find Whitaker an opponent, they got to give him the champ. Although Strickland just got back in the win column against Imavov, and I did say that if Strickland did beat Cannonier, he could have saved the day in Perth and fought Whitaker, but he can still fight Whitaker. And if they make Strickland Whitaker or reschedule Whitaker Costa, which isn't going to happen, then yeah, I guess we'll see Adesanya Pereira 4. But I'm looking forward to seeing, what happens, how this whole thing pans out, and who gets the next shot, and who holds the middleweight title within the next, 4 to 6 months. I don't think it'll be Pereira. I don't think he's going to hold the belt that much longer. He might get one defense minimum against Israel Adesanya and then lose to Robert, or loses to Robert straight away. But we shall see. This is DJC Combat. If you like the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Be sure to also support me on Patreon as well. I'll leave a link in the description as well for that. And peace out.